great for like a town for dwarf. And I think, well, it looks like this is already a town here. What about a dwarven mining city kind of setup where there are like some mines that you have to access? So I think I'll go with that one. So we'll get started with that. Happy Monday, everybody, by the way. Not the best day of the week, but hey, at least we get to hang out and enjoy it together, right? So thank you, everyone. So let's go jump right in. I'm going to go with the dwarf, and I want to make kind of a mining camp. As you would expect, dwarves like to, in the fantasy sense, like to go and dig underground for ore to get metals and things like that, kind of tropey for them. So it's a good place to start. And we'll want to create first, let's say, like a mine. And so let's say that I want to take a mountain from it. So just a regular mountain. I think they even have kind of dwarven mountains as well. You could take a look. Let me type in real quick. I think they do. Yeah, right here, dwarven mountains. And they already have stuff on them. Let's just zoom in real quick and take a look at it. So you see there's already kind of a mine already set up here, and there's already some things popping out here. So you can use that as a start if you wish, or you can do more. It's up to you. I always like to start with my first stamp when I'm making a POI is generally to put like a mountain or a hill or some kind of landscape, and then from there I can start putting on my structures when I start adding on top of it. So we're doing a dwarven kind of city mining camp. So you would expect first like a mountain, because that's where you dig your ore, or some kind of a quarry. And a quarry is where you like start digging down and start pulling out the materials from a quarry. So whichever way that you want to use it, I'm going to go with this one. I think this works just fine. I think there's another one too that might work better. Let me just double check. I think there's two of these mountains. I think I like this one a little bit better because I kind of like that front entrance there. And so this is that first one. And then from here, you can add further things to it. So if you want, you can maybe put like a tower at the very top of it that kind of watches over the mining camp down below. So you can just go into the catalog and just type in dwarf, and you see there's already some dwarf towers here. There's one here and one here. So I'll just click this one and go up a layer because I'm going to stack it on top of here. And this one is just going to act as kind of like a sentry tower. And I know there's kind of these baked in shadows, so you can move it further down if you don't want the shadows. You can see some shadows at the base of it. You don't want those shadows to be showing up. Then just put them far down enough to where you don't see them. And so this is kind of that lookout tower. And I like to add a little bit more than just one particular land feature. So if I use that particular mountain, then maybe I'd like to use the same one. So I'll go up, and I think these mountains right here are the same style as this one right here. And so it's nice to put down a couple first and kind of use these to maybe I'll make a pit or some kind of quarry, and then these rocks or mountain pieces right here will ring around it. So first we'll put down a couple. Let's just scale them down as we go. A little bit smaller, one right here. Okay. Just making kind of an arc shape, because right here where the mining camp is going to be. Now I've used this crater right here, so I could consider using that. Just delete every single thing. Oopsie. Just start at the top, click dead trees, shift, hold down shift, and you'll be able to select everything except for the crater. And I just press delete. And what's interesting about if you delete everything in a group except for one stamp, you can actually rename the stamp. So if you were like, well, I always forget how to name. If you want to be able to label your own stamp, you can do that. Just put a couple items in a group and then delete everything but the one item, and then just relabel the group. And that's the way that you can label a group. If you want to do that, you don't have to. I'm going to take this same one, and I think I'm going to actually use it, take it down a layer. And I want to be careful about this, so I think I'll place it down right here like this, kind of line up some of the line work, and then also line up some of this. So I'll put this one here, and then line up this one here. And so you have this little kind of some mountains right here. Let's push this one in a little bit. And in fact, I'll even go to transform. You see there's filters under the advanced settings, and then transform. And you can change the height and width. So I'm going to change the width of this one just a little bit. And let's just go ahead and center it, make it a little bit bigger. Remember, it's kind of a city, so we might want to put some other stuff on it, right? So on top of all these peaks, you can put some kind of structure if you wish. I'll put down just a couple more. There's a tall peak right here. I'll line it up with the line work, and of course, I'll transform it as well. So I'll go in, I'm gonna select it, transform, change the width, and then put it down like this. And always try to make sure to line up the line work, because that is what kind of helps, gives it some kind of continuity. I'm gonna go ahead and place that one there. Now for every little mountain that I've added, I'm gonna put something on top of it. Let's go down a couple layers, put one in the back, one right here as well, because I'm gonna put some stuff on top of these. And that works whenever you put something on top of a hill or a mountain, that acts as a natural defense, because attackers will have to go uphill. That gives you an advantage because you can shoot arrows farther, throw a lance. Soldiers or enemies, attackers have to go up, and that gives them more work. So whenever you're trying to think about defenses for any kind of position, whether it's for a keep, a castle, whatever it is that you're putting together for your POI, it's nice to put them on some kind of elevation to give them that defensive. So natural defenses work fantastic. So now that I've done that, I want to maybe put some buildings on top of each one of these peaks. Hello, Beatrix Ray. Welcome. Glad that you're here. I'm going to turn off these custom assets real quick. I'll type in dwarf real quick. There we go. And I have all the structures right here. Remember, we're not using the flat facing ones. We're using these kind of isometric ones. So for starters, we can pick some, like we want to maybe create a forge, because this is where you're going to have, where you're mining ore. So let's put this maybe on top of this one right here, or you can bring it up close because you want it closer to the mine. And let's push it up another layer so it's in front. So if you want, you can put it right here. Even you can line it up, push it up one more, up one, there we go. So here you kind of have materials to a gate, and you might have maybe a forge there. And if you want, you can add more iconic buildings. There's this dwarven city kind of icon right here. You can put another one on top. And then we'll put maybe just a couple more on top of the other buildings. These kind of a circular building right here. This works kind of nice. I'll put one on top there, one on top of this one. And let's see what other ones we have. This blue one will work just fine. We can put that on top of this one. There we go. Let's see what other options we have. And there's some nice smaller little buildings. And we can kind of populate the ground a little bit by adding some buildings there. I think these should be more of a group, but they're not. So I'll put this together, put one there. And let's put another one right here. Okay, there we go. Let's just go ahead and zoom out and just see what the overall shape looks like. And the only thing that's kind of missing is to put down some kind of roads to kind of show that there is way to walk around. So we'll take a path, and the paths work great for roads. I just like to put one down first, so that way it's live and I can see what it looks like editing it. This little tiny little thing right here in the corner where it says style right below, there's a preview, but it kind of just doesn't really show you the color or anything like that. It just kind of shows you what things look like. So I'll use this, and I'm going to change, I want no shadow, and I'm probably going to change the blend mode as well. So I'm going to put this path on top of the crater, and that way I can see it interact with the crater. And I'll just go ahead and place a couple down, lighten, and see which one. That overlay might work okay. Might even have to drop the opacity just a hair, and maybe even include a white shadow. Just a little bit, there we go. Okay, and I think that might work for roads. And so we'll start with one going obviously to here, and maybe winding up to there, and then maybe put the path leading over here, and then maybe a path leading to here. And then it can go over this cliff and then kind of wander off this way if you want. So it kind of goes off that way. And there are some final things that you can throw in. You can throw in smoke from some stacks. You can throw in some trees to kind of change things up. Sometimes I like to add in some things below here. This is kind of an odd transition right here. So you can throw in maybe some little foothills or something to kind of break that up. So we'll throw in a hill. I'm going to use the brown one. Let's just use the same material. This one right here is barren. And I'm just going to throw in a couple. So one, and throw in some big ones at the top. And the farther away from the structure, the further away from this city there is, I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. So now I can start making them a tad bit smaller. And maybe some back here. And then if you want, you can throw in some trees. It's a mining place, so a lot of the trees is being used for timber, for making equipment. So maybe throw in a dead tree. Just like there's dead trees in this one. You can throw in some dead trees if you want. And you can put them on top of a hill, next to a hill, behind a hill. And the more kind of overlapping you do, the better it looks. So if I throw a couple in front of these hills, and on top of a couple hills, and then I can also put them behind some hills. So if I go back, click one, and then behind, you'll see there's a hill behind here, or not a hill, sorry, a tree behind this one, a tree behind here, and maybe here. Throw in a bunch. There we go. And I always like to scale down and just make some smaller ones, because in nature, the trees aren't going to be all one size. They're going to be varying sizes. So it's nice to throw in some various size of your trees. And that includes varying sizes of hills, mountains, because there's so much diversity in nature. It doesn't make much sense to have all your trees be the exact same size, or any stamp be the exact same size, outside of trying to get the scale correct. Okay. Now from there, we have a nice city here, and I can go ahead and just select everything and then group it, of course. And I believe this is a dwarven city. So I'll scale it down.